Hi there, Duncan here, physiotherapist and owner of Life is Movement. I make these video demonstrations for my patients here at the clinic. However, if you're not a patient, please feel free to take this and run with it as long as you do so safely. So, today I wanted to make some videos about the bridging sequence that I use here at the clinic. And I use this for all sorts of reasons. It's really good for people with back issues because it teaches us to move our back correctly under the load of hip extension. It's really good for people with issues of the hip to strengthen the hips. Also people with some sort of gluteal issue, gluteal tendinopathy, things like that. It's good for people with hamstring issues and really good for people with issues at the knee because you need to stabilize if you do this whole sequence. So the full sequence is as follows. So if you come to my clinic, this is the way I like to train it. And hopefully if you saw another, hopefully useful physiotherapist, they would have explained it to you in a similar way. So we're going to lie on our back, and the first thing we do is the pelvic tilt, which hopefully, before you go into any bridging, if you want to do it properly, particularly if you've got a lower back issue, you need to learn to pelvic tilt properly. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to demonstrate by video because the movement is so small, but I'm going to try to show you. So all I'm doing now, if you can even see, is pelvic tilting. So I've kind of got this curve, the lordosis in my lower back, and all I'm doing is sort of flattening that. Hopefully you can see that on the video. So that's the first step, the pelvic tilt, and I'll have made a video about that as well. Once people can pelvic tilt, which can often be surprisingly difficult because if you don't know how to move your lumbar spine in that way, it can be quite a mission retraining it. But once you've learned to do that, we start doing what I call the extended pelvic tilt. So we tilt and then we start to roll up. So I always say to patients, so I want you to do the pelvic tilt and then just sort of keep going. So you start to lift your tailbone up a few centimeters off the ground and then we roll back down. And every single repetition is initiated with that pelvic tilt and then we roll up. And then the progression from that is to just keep getting higher and higher until we're coming into a full, excuse the microphone, my apologies, until we're coming to a full bridge position. As you can see, I'm in a full bridge now, but I haven't just, I always say, we don't want to turn this into a 1980s Jane Fonda workout video where, a bunch of people in Lycra just sort of shooting their hips up into the air. Perfectly fine exercise, no offense, Jane, but that's not what we're doing here. If we want to do it in a way that's optimal for spinal mechanics, we pelvic tilt first, and then we do a roll up into that bridge position. Now, for bonus points, for those of you who are brave, and it's also really, really useful, we can now use this opportunity to build some stability into that lumbopelvic region, which I think is really, really valuable. Once patients can do this, I'm always really, really happy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press my right foot into the floor and I'm going to hover that left leg up and then lower it. So now I reverse sides. I'm going to push my left leg into the floor and lift my right leg up. And then we roll back down. And again, we're going to come up, pelvic tilt first, roll up, starting to get a bit out of breath. Maybe I need to practice this more. And I'm going to press the right foot in for the stability, hover the left leg up. Now, really important, what the tendency is, as we lower this left leg, the tendency is to also sync with the right leg. I'll demonstrate on the other side because it'll be easy to see. So I'm lifting my right leg. As I lower the right leg, the tendency is to also sync with the left. No, as I lower the right leg, I want to think, as the right leg comes down, I want to push up, 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 up with this leg. So it's almost like an opposite effect. As one comes down, the other pushes up. So ideally, if you couldn't see my right leg moving, you wouldn't be able to tell that I was doing the leg hover just by looking at the left leg. I'm not quite sure if I demonstrated that well enough, but that is the goal. So that's the entire bridge sequence that I like to train for rehab patients here at the clinic. It starts with a pelvic tilt, moves into the extended pelvic tilt. We then graduate that slowly to the full bridge, progressing up the spine, up that range of motion. And then eventually we add that leg hover. Once you can do that, I say, regardless of what the injury is, lower back is, lower back, gluteal tendinopathy, hip issue, whatever, hamstring issue. Once you can do that, you're ready to start moving to more gym-looking posterior chain activities, things like deadlifts, Romanian deadlifts, glute ham raisers, glute bridges, that sort of thing. But that's the sort of progression we like to teach here at Life is Movement. We do the rehab first, and then it starts to merge into more functional, gym-looking style training. Hope you found that useful.